Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Congregation Beth Israel in Houston, Texas. We're glad that you can join us this Shabbat. Shabbat is our day of rest and joy that allows us to create a separation from all that may have occurred during the week. May our prayers, words, and songs help to elevate your soul and bring you comfort, strength, and peace this day. Please enjoy our service.
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to each of you. To those of you who are here joining us in the main sanctuary, we invite you to come in and take your seats at this time. In addition, we welcome those who are joining us via live stream this morning. We are grateful to come together on Shabbat, our day of rest, which allows us to create a separation from all that may have occurred during the past week and spend time in prayer and reflection, truly grateful for all of the blessings we find in our lives. And especially on this Shabbat, we are grateful to be together to celebrate the occasion of Ryan and Sarah being called to the Torah as B'nai Mitzvah. We're pleased to welcome their family and friends who are here and who have joined us. We invite each of you to take hold of our prayer book and to follow along in participating both in our prayers in Hebrew and English throughout the service. In addition, at the bottom of each page, you will find some additional commentary to further enhance your understanding of our worship this morning. For those of you who are here, we invite you now at this time, please, to silence any cell phones you have brought with you, and please refrain from using them during the service for any text messaging or picture taking. Cantor will now continue as she sets the tone for our service this morning.
We continue now with the singing of Ma Tovu on page 74. How fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Ma Tovu Alecha Yaakov, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu Alecha Yaakov, Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
We continue now on page 81.
I can say the tears of others if I can see myself as diminished of their sorrows. I can hasten time when everyone will be able to rejoice in freedom. And if I can see myself as the companion of those fighting against oppression, I can honor the struggle of people everywhere and to gain dignity and deliverance from bondage. When I look at myself in the mirror, who will I see? Please turn to page 108 and rise for Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
Page 110. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yoser or uvarei hoshech osei shalom uvarei et hakol hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha barachamim uv tuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chokma asita ma'al ha'aretz kin yanecha Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al sheva ma'aseh yadyecha ve'al me'orei or sha'asita. Yafarucha selah, or hadash al Sion ta'ir, v'nizkei kulanu mechara le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yoser hamorot. We continue on page 113. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having her lech lecha go forth. God disturbs us towards our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'achava. Page 114.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated, page 116. Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'kol nafshecha uv'kol meodecha. Ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'elech asher anochi misavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vetecha uv'lechtecha v'derek uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. We read together in the middle of the page. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away. When you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please turn to page 121. Emet, there's no place where you're not. Even in the wilderness there's your word. Emet, that pen strokes the lightning, white fire, black flame, stirs the soul passion, guide our sacred way, true and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nidar b'kodesh, norati lot osef eleh, norati lot osef eleh. Shir chadasham, shibechu geulim, lishimcha asafat hayam, yachad kulam odu, v'him lichu v'yameru. Adonai meloch leolam vaed, Adonai meloch leolam vaed, Adonai meloch leolam vaed. Tzor Yisrael, Huma v'ezrat Yisrael, ufedechenu mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael. Kolinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kidosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Kal Yisrael.
Rock of Israel, rise in support of Israel and redeem Judah and Israel as you promised. Our Redeemer Adonai Savaot is your name. Blessed are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel.
We continue now with our tefillah on pages 124, 126, and 128. Please rise. Adonai sevatai tifta ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Hasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Mechakel Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachabim Rabim, Somech Novlim Verofe Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem and Munato Lishenei Afar, Miha Mocha Baal Givuot, Umido Melach, Melech Mimi, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Vena'aman Atah Lehahayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. We read together in the middle of page 128. You are forever mighty, Adonai, you give life to all. You sustain life through love, giving life to all, through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully give life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Page 130.
נקדש שמך בעולם, כי שם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זר זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו אדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי ושכחה אלוהינו מפי לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
To all generations we will declare your greatness, and for all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated, page 132.
מלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורי עונג שבת מקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת כולם יצבחו ויתענגו מטוב וחשלבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שלבת וקורי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שלבת וקורי עונג שבת ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שלבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שלבת וקורי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שלבת וקורי עונג שבת.
We continue reading together on page 133. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue on page 135. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in the darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and a blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat, page 136. Find favor, Adonai our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer and love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Page 138. Modim anachnu lach she'atah hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur hayenu migein yishenu atah hu lador vador. Nodeh lacha unesaper tehilatecha al chayenu hamisurim biyadecha ve'al nishmotenu hapkudot lach ve'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu ve'al niflotecha ve'tovotecha shebachol 8 erev vavoker v'sohorayim. We read together in the middle of the page. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, and for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favor at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Page 140. Grant peace, goodness, and blessing, grace, kindness, and mercy to us and to all your people Israel. Bless us, our Creator, all of us together, through the light of your presence. Truly through the light of your presence, Adonai our God, you gave us a Torah of life, the love of kindness, justice, and blessing, mercy, life, and peace. May you see fit to bless your people Israel at all times, at every hour, with your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We pray silently.
Say shalom bimroma, say shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Say shalom bimroma, say shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
In our prayer book, we turn to page 244 as we prepare for the reading of Torah. Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai v'ein kama'asecha malchutcha malchut kol olamim umemshaltacha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'ashalom. There is none like you among the gods, Adonai, and there are no deeds like yours. You are sovereign over all worlds, and your dominion is in all generations. Adonai reigns, Adonai has reigned. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Adonai will give strength to our people. Adonai will bless our people with peace. It's a pleasure to open the doors of the Holy Ark this morning in honor of Emily Weeks and Hannah Weeks, and to undress the Torah for reading in honor of the Spitalnik family. But first, we also enjoy the tradition of passing the Torah from generation to generation. So as we take our places, we also invite Ryan and Sarah's parents and grandparents to join us on the bima. And as we open the Holy Ark now, we rise. Please come forward. As we take our places here before the Holy Ark, we see so clearly the promise our people has kept through the generations. Standing at Sinai once before, our people said to God that they would accept the gift of Torah and they would promise to give it to their children and their children's children. The unbroken chain is obvious before us now as proudly we take the Torah and its teachings and pass them from grandparents to parents to children.
Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Lehishtachavu Kod Sho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down toward God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shmo.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti Uneromema Shemo Yachtal. Lecha Adonai Agiduna Be'agivura Ba'tiferet Be'hanetzach Be'ha'od Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai Amlach al Yamid Nasi
On this Shabbat morning, we turn to the Torah to a special place. Ryan and Sarah were first scheduled to read from the Torah in the book of Genesis in the fall. And here, at the end of May, we're so pleased that all of us can come together, that they will read the portion that they were first assigned from the book of Genesis. As we say, Torah is Torah. And how pleased we are to open to the book of Genesis in chapter 6, verse 9, in the portion called Noach. And it's a privilege to call to the Torah to recite the blessings, giving thanks to God for its gifts. Andrea and Mark Epstein, Julie Spitalnik, and in honor of Ross and Dylan Spitalnik. Please come forward. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vahed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Toratav. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Elech Todot Noach Noah Ish Sadik Tamim Haya Bedrotav Et HaElohim Hitalech Noah Vayoel Noah Shlosha Vanim Et Shem Et Ham Ve'et Yafet Vatishahet Ha'aret Livnei HaElohim Vatimolei Ha'aret Hamas Vayar Elohim et haaretz v'hinei nishchata ki hishchit kol basar et darko al haaretz. Vayomer Elohim leNoah k'etz kol basar ba lefanai kimo al haaretz hamas b'nechem v'hineni mashitam et haaretz. Aseh lechar teva taseh gofer kinim taseh et hateva v'kafarta ota mibai umichutz ba'kofer v'zeh asher taseh ota shelosh meot ama orech hateva hamishim ama ruchba Ushoshim Ama Komata.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Temet V'chayei Olam Natan B'Tokenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Ya'amod Tevya la'aliyah la'Torah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Avarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Zohar ta'aseh lateva ve'alma techalena milmala ufeta hateva besida tasim taktiyim sheniyim ushoshim ta'aseh va'ani hineni mevi et hamabo mayim al ha'aretz v'shahet kol basar asher bo ruach hayim mitacha hashamayim kol asher ba'aretz yigva v'hakimoti et briti ita uvata el hateva ata uvanecha v'ishecha Venshiveni ata mikol hahai mikol basar shenaim mikol tavi el hetiva lechahayot ita zachar ukeva yiyu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emes, v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. You can return to your seats. Thank you.
Our Torah reading continues in the book of Genesis, continuing in chapter 11, verse 1. We're so pleased that Jennifer and Kevin are here to recite the blessings. We also invite Emma Callahan to join us to give thanks once more through our blessing to God for all the gifts of Torah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu Torah et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayehi chocha aretz safa echat u'devarim achadim. Vayehi benasa am yivkenem vayimseu vik'a be'eretz shinar vayeshevu sham. Vayomeru ish oreu hava no bena levenim b'ni soifa li soifa v'tahi lahem habena la'aven v'hahemar haya lahem lahomer. Vayomeru hava nivne lanu ir umigdal v'rasho b'shamayim v'na'aseh lanu shem penafutz al panei chol ha'aretz.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ta'amod Sarah Davida la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch
Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayered Adonai lir'ot et ha'ir ve'et ha'migdal, asher banu b'nei ha'adam. Vayomer Adonai, Hein am echad v'safa achat lechulam v'zeh hachilam la'asot. Ve'ata lo yivatzer mehem kol asher yazmu la'asot. Hava nerda v'navla sham sefatam asher lo yisma'u ish safat re'ehu. Vayafetz Adonai otam misham al panei chol haaretz. V'yachdalu livnot ha'ir. Al kain kara sama Bavel kisham balal Adonai safat chocha aretz umisham hapitzam Adonai Elohenei haaretz. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen.
Well done.
We dress the Torah this morning in honor of Matthew Roden and family.
This morning's Haftorah comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verses 15 and 16. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nevi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nevi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek. Hein gor yagor efes meoti migar itach alayich yipol hine anochi barati harash nofeach be'ish picham u'mozeach ali lema'asehu Ve'anochi barati mishchit lachabel.
Our Haftarah continues with Isaiah chapter 55, verses 1 and 2. Hoi kozame lehu lamayim va'asher ein le kasef lehu shivru ve'echolu uchlu shivru belo chesef uvlo mechir yain va'halav Lama tishchelu chesef belo lechem ve'igyachem belo lesava shim'u shamoa elai ve'echolu tov ve'tit anak ba'deshen nafshechen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zor kol ha'olamim sadiq b'chol ha'darot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber kayim shechol davarav emet v'asedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nivim ve'el yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu v'li kedusha v'li menucha lechavod u'tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umfarchim ota yitbarak shimcha b'fi kol haytamid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. My Torah portion, Noah, talks about God getting mad at the people for always doing sins and being bad people. But there was one righteous person, and his name was Noah. God talked to Noah and said that he was going to flood everyone but him and his family, and that he had to take 2 of every animal into an ark so they could survive the flood. My Torah portion says that there can only be one righteous person, which has been talked about over the years as if Noah is such a righteous person, why didn't he ask God to save others? Or would he be a righteous person in another time period? We learn from Jewish tradition that if you are kind and honest like Noah was, you be treated the way you act. It's not just about going outside to help your mom so she'll let you go somewhere, or doing chores so then you can go to your friends. It is about doing something from the kindness of your heart, by donating to charity or something as simple as picking up trash on the sidewalk. I think this is something we can all work on, but instead of interpreting things as what's the reward, we should look at how can I help others. On this special day, I offer prayer to God by saying thank you to Rabbi Scott, cantor, trumpeter, Rabbi Lion, Rabbi Sadalach, and Debbie Uzik for helping me on this special day. I would like to thank everyone who showed up online. I am bummed you can't be here in person, but thank you for being online. I would like to thank my family and friends for coming here and being with me on this day. I'd like to thank Aunt Julie, Uncle Ross, Spencer, and Dylan for all the fun memories you bring me, and I can't wait to make more with you. I'd like to thank my grandparents for always being with me no matter what, and all the fun times we spend together. I'd like to thank my sister Emma for being my role model and always being there for me, and driving me places even though you don't want to. I'd like to thank Sarah for always being there for me. Even when you don't want to, you're always help me out, and I thank you for that. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for always helping me and being there for me. You guys spent a lot of time into this, and I'm very thankful for that. Shabbat Shalom.
And they said, "Come, let us build a city and a tower with its top in the sky to make name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world." My Torah portion, Noach, which continues after the flood, speaks on the Tower of Babel. To briefly explain, the Tower of Babel is a story of the Israelites building a tower so tall it could reach God, or so they thought. Based on the knowledge the Israelites had of God back then, it's quite reasonable for them to build a tower in attempts to meet God face to face. One of the many flaws in their plan was the process of working patiently together. When building the tower, the Israelites began to argue because they all had different ideologies and methodologies to reach God most efficiently. Because of this, God decided to teach them a lesson, and everyone began to speak different languages. This story teaches many lessons such as teamwork, patience, and diversity. There are many teachings to be learned from my Torah portion, specifically the idea of working together patiently. When everyone was rushing to build the tower, all they did was argue because there was no solid plan. If they just had a little teamwork, they might have been able to reach their goal and finish the tower. A few months ago, I was working on a project with an assigned group. Instead of working together, we all just decided to do separate parts of the project and would put them together in the end. Although this sounds like a smart idea to divide and conquer, it didn't work out for the best. When we presented, none of us knew each other's parts well, so it sounded like we didn't know what we were talking about. If we had all worked together to begin with and been a little more patient, our project would have turned out to be better than it was when we did it separately. Teamwork is an important lesson that everyone should learn and keep in mind. As Oprah Winfrey once said, "Always continue the climb. It is possible for you to do whatever you choose if you first get to know who you are and are willing to work with a power that is greater than ourselves to do it. If they took a second to work together and listen, they would have probably realized that a tower cannot reach God. These teachings are just as important in our lives today as they were back then. Even if you speak the same language, you might not always be heard or understood. A great example of this is the Black Lives Matter movement. After George Floyd's horrific passing, many people were enraged and tried speaking out, as the Black community and allies were fed up with the countless unfortunate occurrences of police brutality against people of color. Unfortunately, many of them were not heard and haven't been for years, resulting in louder volumes like protests, rallies, and petitions. Even if you speak the same language, communication can always get lost. On this special day, I offer a prayer to God. I hope to always be a part of a strong, safe community that comes to work together during times like these, and I hope to always show and be shown patience. I also hope to always have such special people beside me, such as my friends and family, who have supported me through this especially prolonged B'nai Mitzvah process. Emma, thank you for being my consistent shoulder to cry on and role model. Even though you constantly steal my clothes and music tastes, I love you and always will. Ryan, not only are you the funniest and overall best brother I could ask for, but you are also an outstanding B'nai Mitzvah partner. I wouldn't want to share this moment with anyone else. You are my built-in best friend, and I hope we continue to share many adventures, jokes, and advice for the years to come. Grandma and Papa, whether it's abrupt shopping trips or talking vinyl and politics, you always seem to be by my side. You guys are my biggest supporters, and I don't know what I did to deserve it. Thank you for always thinking of me. I love you. A vast and endless thank you to Rabbi Lyon, Rabbi Scott, Rabbi Sadaloff, and Cantor Trumpeter. You guys offered me so much support and assistance throughout this journey, and I know I will always be able to rely on you all. Debbie, a special thanks to you for being so understanding and helpful during this especially hectic journey of a B'nai Mitzvah. Ryan and I improved so much, and none of this would be possible without you. Finally, no words can express my true gratitude towards my biggest advocates from day one. Mom and Dad, the love and respect I have for you guys is an immeasurable amount, one that will never leave. You guys make me feel so incredibly exceptional every day, and I'm so fortunate to be blessed with the most phenomenal, inspiring, encouraging, and outstanding parents. I love you higher than the sky and deeper than the ocean and more than all the ice cream and sprinkles in the whole world. And to you all, whether you're watching remotely or here and in person today, you took the time to sit and watch us become bar and bat mitzvah. I appreciate and thank you all for coming and celebrating us on this wondrous occasion. Shabbat Shalom.
Ryan and Sarah, just take a look at everybody who's here and on live stream. Now you can look at them with less worry and concern because you've really accomplished so much. Now if you'll turn and face me so I can share some words with you. Watching both of you today has been really a great joy for all of us. You brought your A game, so to speak, to chant the prayers, to chant the Torah portion, and to teach us wisely about what the Torah has to teach us, but through your own lens and through your own life experience. It also speaks something about your level of patience. Your family is dear. We laugh easily together and have a lot of fun when we come together here at Temple and in the community. But your patience to go from the fall to the late spring has been a real journey, as you reflected on in your speeches. And we were patient. Thankfully, we didn't have to have you read a new Torah portion, but you had all the extra time to prepare. And your words of thanks to Debbie Usick are always appreciated. She is a fine teacher, and I'm glad that Debbie's here today to hear your fine compliments and gratitude. Each of you read beautifully from the Torah, and I'm grateful that you found in it something so meaningful. Ryan, you read about Noah, and at the very beginning, Noah was a righteous man in his generation. And just as you pointed out, sometimes you have to do the right thing for the right reason, not only because of what you really want to get out of it. Noah was also questioned by the rabbis who commented on your portion and wondered, if we took Noah and put him in any other generation, not such a rotten generation as the one he lived in, Would he still be considered righteous? Well, some argued. Some said no, he wouldn't be so special if he lived in a generation of wonderful people. But others concluded, and we've come to conclude too, that Noah would have been a wonderful man, a righteous person in any generation. Why? Because he always knew what was right to do. And if even everybody around him was doing the wrong thing, he understood to take notice of Torah, God's message, and to know in his heart and soul what had to be done, always to take the high road, to get on that ark and float away from trouble. So Ryan, I'm not saying that you have any trouble around you that you have to worry about. And your parents and grandparents and family pray for you that your future will only be filled with good times as we emerge, especially from this pandemic. But Ryan, as you think about your Torah portion, you be the righteous person, not perfect, but on your way to understanding your responsibilities as a young Jewish man, that if everybody around you is not doing the right thing, you find the way to be the leader, the righteous person, to say, wait a minute, I'm a bar mitzvah. I know my Torah. I know my tradition. Follow me and lead others to the very best that you can do. So you've taught us well. And what's more, we have great confidence because we've come to know you as the fine young man that you are. So Ryan, take hold of this day, the beautiful memories you've helped us to create, and become the young Jewish man that you are aimed to be in your future. Mazel tov to you. And Sarah, your sweet voice was appreciated through all of this. I know you leaned into the microphone to be heard more, but I promise you, not only did we hear you, we really felt you too. It was just beautiful. Really, really lovely. And your Torah portion too is significant. That Tower of Babel, the people were trying to build to challenge God's authority. But in the Torah it says, let us go down and see what the people are doing. And the rabbis asked, doesn't God know everything? Isn't God everywhere? Why does God have to come down and see? And the rabbis taught us that the Torah is written in human language so that we could learn the lessons. And what was it? God didn't want to pass judgment on the people until God saw for God's self. And you know what? Just as you mentioned Black Lives Matter and all the complexities in the world, my goodness, we can take hold of that Torah lesson and say, wait a minute, before I judge all the issues going on in the world, including what's happening in Israel and Hamas, the terrorist organization, we want to know for ourselves, see for ourselves, and trust the information we have before we pass judgment. Because we know what happened to the people at the Tower of Babel. They were spread to the four corners of the earth, and they never understood each other because their languages were changed. So they could never come together and build that Tower of Babel, that tower against God. You are the epitome. You are such a fine example of what it means to be honest and faithful. It's why your friends are here to celebrate with you, because you don't gossip and you don't pass judgment. You want to see for yourself and know things for the truth that they are before you can say, hey, everybody, here's what we need to do about it. But Sarah, your parents and your family are proud of you too, for the young woman you're becoming. So as you continue to grow, take hold of Torah and know in this complex and broken world, it is certainly looking forward to your role in it to help all of us understand what we can do and, even more importantly, who we need to be. And I really like that brother and sister come together. Oh, I know sibling rivalry exists in every family, but there is no sign of it here for sure. And I hope that you'll cherish the moment you've shared, the memories you've created, and from this day forward, always to know that you are truly brother and sister, arm in arm, and tied together by this special day before the Torah. Mazel tov to both of you. And now let's come together and turn and face the table. Give me a little, Ryan, come over here. Terrific. And before we continue, I want to share with you what we've been holding on to for a very long time. All of these gifts. We have a Kiddush cup from the Sisterhood for both of you that you can take home and raise on Shabbat and holidays to sanctify those moments. For each of you, a gift certificate from the Reformed Jewish movement that you can use to help pay for a trip to Israel, to return to the place where it all began, not just the history and the archaeology, but also the innovation, the technology, the brilliance of that startup nation. And then to come home to Houston, to be a part of Congregation Beth Israel, and help us to grow our wonderful community in Houston. And here's your certificate of Bar and Bat Mitzvah, Ryan and Sarah. It says you finally did it. Finally we made the day. And you read from the Torah and the portion Noah, and we are so very proud of you. You can leave these here, and as you place them down, I'd like to invite our rabbis and cantor to join us. Turn and face the Holy Ark behind me. We'd like to extend to you the blessing of old, that it may go well with you today and for many years to come.
May God bless you and keep you.
May God's presence shine above you and always be gracious to you.
May God lift God's face upon you and grant you all that we wish for you. May it be long life, mitzvah, and a lifetime of peace.
Amen.
Amen. Mazel tov. Now you can return to your seats. And now we prepare to return the Torah to the Holy Ark, and we open the doors of the Holy Ark in honor of the Salerno family. As we raise the Torah now, we rise. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki nizgav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of the Lord, for God's name alone is exalted. In our prayer book, we turn to the bottom of page 282 and 287, and we join in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latit gedula liotze bereshit, shelo asanu ki goye haratzot, velo samanu ki mishpechot adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Please remain standing.
We turn now to page 294, and as we do, we call to heart and mind those who have left this earth and gone on to the peace of life eternal. Today, we are especially thinking of those of the Callahan family who are here with us today in spirit. Lovingly, we remember Harriet Epstein, David Epstein, Stephen Epstein, Michael Schuler, Minnie Rappaport, Mac Rappaport, Randy Malinsky, Josephine Callahan, Bernard Callahan, Ida Epstein, Lee Resnick, Ruth Manis, Theodore Manis, Marianne Shapiro. The words of the mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach rote v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chal beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'rechu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, tamiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God send peace to all who mourn and the bereaved among us, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Our formal prayers have ended, but our blessings continue. It is now my pleasure to invite Ryan and Sarah to join me at the lower bima with their parents.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. First, we would like to thank everyone for joining us, both in person and virtually, for attending this momentous day in Sarah and Ryan's lives. Thank you to all the clergy and their tutor, Debbie Uzik, for preparing them for this day. Clearly, this last year was difficult for everyone, and we both truly appreciate all your help during these trying times. They wouldn't have been able to do it without any of you, so thank you.
Sarah and Ryan, this is the time that we, your parents, get the opportunity and privilege to share our thoughts, prayers, and some advice with you. We have been looking forward to this moment for quite some time, mainly because we know that finally we have your full attention. You can't pretend to pay attention to us while staring at your iPhone and checking your Instagram. For once in your life, you're stuck listening to mom and dad, so deal with it. But we both promise you we'll make it worth your while.
I believe it was the great philosopher Winnie the Pooh who once said, "You are braver than you believe, you are stronger than you seem, and you are smarter than you think." So let's break that down for a moment. Braver, whether it's going to overnight camp for the first time or finding your future career for the rest of your life, you are going to be challenged more than you ever thought imaginable. We promise that if you continue to tackle these challenges with all the bravery you can muster, you will make it look easy. And don't be afraid to fail either. Failing at something doesn't matter. It's how you perceive your failure and how you act on the wisdom gained from that perception that ultimately define and redefine you and make you who you are.
Stronger. Don't talk yourself into not being you. I promise that. If you are true to yourself, always remember where you came from and have learned. Being you will bring out all the good that's inside. Be prepared, stand tall, strong, and you will accomplish anything you set out to do.
And smarter. You're smart enough to know where you are going. Your dreams at age 13 and 14 may not be the ones you have when you head to college or when you leave school, or when your parents finally kick you out of the house. Your destiny may take a different shape as you grow older, and your interests may change as you experience new things. Right now, you may think you know exactly what you want to do when you grow up, but at some point, those dreams are going to change. But whatever happens, we promise there's a reason. While things may not always seem so clear or easy, we promise you will figure it out, and we promise it's going to be good. We also promise that wherever your dreams take you, your parents are here to support you. You know, virtually every parent of a B'nai Mitzvah gets up on the bima and states that they can't believe how fast the past 13, 14 years have gone, and as cliche as it is, and in many ways, that's absolutely right. Before you know it, one day you're going to drive home after a long day of working and decide to take down all those Harry Styles and artsy photos currently in your bedroom. Maybe you'll want to get rid of Blanky or your nanny. Whatever you choose to redecorate or whatever you choose to do as you get older, never forget what it's like to be a kid and never forget who you are. Being a kid means your biggest concern is that you're running low on duct tape. When you're a kid, everything is about the journey, not the destination. It's about the story, not the conclusion. You dress in silly costumes with your friends simply because it's silly. You make silly TikToks because why not? Who cares? Don't worry. Ignore what people think. However, accept their opinions, even if you don't agree. Keep learning and experience and keep being a kid. Just because you're growing up doesn't mean you have to reach your destination.
Believe it or not, this day, your bat mitzvah is not the experience of a lifetime. While an achievement being up here on the bima, the truth is it's just the beginning of a lifetime of new experiences. The truth measure of this experience doesn't come from how you perform here today, but rather remember what you have learned and how you continue in all the days that follow. We aren't sure where this day is going to take you, but we promise you're going to enjoy the ride.
Sarah and Ryan, we hope you know that there's not always one answer to any given question, and that it's okay to keep seeking. This is what we learn as being Jewish, to always question and try to interpret things in a meaningful way. We hope as you go through life, you'll continue to question the world around you. Challenge what you hear and read. Try to see things from every angle imaginable. However, whatever you choose, always believe, and more importantly, always believe in yourselves. We hope that one day you both feel the joy of watching your kids become bar or bat mitzvah. I hope you know how much we both love you. We're both extremely proud of how you prepared and performed today, although that's not nearly as important as the fact that we are incredibly proud of the young woman and young man that you are becoming and have become. We love you for who you are, and we are both so blessed and honored to have the privilege to be your parents. We love you. Mazel tov.
And as we prepare to share blessings over wine and challah, we want to invite Emma to join us, and also the other Emma and Spencer. Come and join us here. And as we prepare to share the blessings, let's rise so we can sing them together and wish each other a good Shabbos. Come on up. We raise the Kiddush cups and we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. And some challah to share. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos.
joining us here at Congregation Beth Israel in Houston. Sharing Shabbat with you is so meaningful for us. Let's join together again very soon. My best wishes to you for a very good week ahead. Shabbat Shalom.